This is your favorite and that's my channel like YouTube. And of course, we just ended with the debut album by Wild Dogs. Now it's time to get on to the follow-up, which is Man's Best Friend. And this is definitely the one where they start to really sound more like the power metal band that they would on the album after this. And it's definitely present also with the drumming technique of Dean Castronavo. It's like he kind of beats Pete Holmes as well, because you can tell that this is definitely Dean Castronavo. It's definitely, and definitely early. It's a little more raw in terms of his approach than on later releases, especially other ones as well. What else could be said about this? Of course, the production is definitely a bit raw, even just a tad bit rawer than the one before it. Now, since we're on the topic of production, it definitely came out that Jeff Mark wasn't a fan of the production for this. He definitely thought that they had butchered the album, and even shortened some of the songs as well, when they were supposed to be a bit longer. Definitely given, on the Metal Archives, where the time length is a lot more lengthy than on the actual release. And he was not very happy. It's like on the demos, they were heavier, but once it came in, it wasn't nearly as heavy. And definitely kind of, I guess, because they wanted to make them sound more like the radio bands that were coming out around that time, like, the hair bands. They wanted them to sound like that when they didn't want to sound like the hair bands. They wanted to be on the heavy side of the spectrum, since they are a power metal band, and power metal is at times on the borderline of melody and pure heaviness. It's all about power, and at times even displaying a bit more of aggression as well. It's not really radio-friendly stuff if you really think about it. So, with Man's Best Friend, the album kicks off with Living on the Street, which is another great way as well. Of course, the first half is really the best part of this album, with Women in Chains, Beauty and a Beast. Oh shit, Believe in Me, Not Stoppin'. So, again, the first half of this album is actually the best, in my opinion. Every track from Living on the Streets up to like Believe in Me is pretty much the best as far when it comes to this. And even Believe in Me is definitely probably the most heaviest in this album. It's actually almost the borderline of like early thrash. This is just a very vicious, visceral song, to where even like Matt McCourt is just howling at the freaking mic. And even Jeff Mark is even raw as well, alongside the whole band. It's a raw, visceral headbanger. But let's get to the next half of the album. The next half is actually the weakest for this album. Sure, there's some good ones right here. Ready or Not is okay. Stick to Your Guns. It's okay, but it's not really my favorite of this album. To me, it's the very weakest part of the disc, is the second half, where the first half is strong, pretty strong, but the second half just seems very average, to where it's just kind of like almost even weaker than any of the songs off of the debut. So that's how I look at it. It's not the best part of the album. It's the first half is where it is. If it was made as an EP, it really would be really strong. But since with that tacked in there to make it as a full length, not as much. Who knows? Maybe if it was, given the length that it should have been given in the first place, maybe it would have been you know, a lot more stronger. But since it wasn't, you get what you get. That's pretty much what needs to be said. So, definitely not a bad album. It's definitely a little, more upbeat. It's definitely a step up from the first album. But what would come next would definitely be the band's crowning achievement in their, in their really short career. And of course, after this album, Matt McCourt would end up get kicked out. And while he still did stuff for like Shrapnel, this was the last album to feature Matt McCourt on the mic. So, it's time to get on to the next album, the one that is the band's greatest achievement, in my opinion. So, just stay tuned until then. So, later. Or, again, whatever.